If he thinks Harstem's a guy who gateway expands a lot, he might do like a very fast speeding opener. I don't know. I know Zerg's been experimenting with a couple things. I saw Zerg do a 10 pull speeding, and I've seen, of course, the 14 gas, 14 pulls sometimes. Those have kind of lost a little bit of popularity. But I don't know if Zergs have figured out the most optimal timing against the gateway expand on when you want to get the gas and pull, because, of course, you want to find that timing area where you kind of can avoid their scouts, get in there before. You kind of want to hit after they start the Nexus, ideally, and hopefully they've canceled the first zealot they build. But you also want to get in there before the Mothership Core can get too much energy, because once it has a lot of energy, Photon Overcharge can push you away, and then the Protoss has some time to build up. But anyways, here we go. Series number 1 of Fnatic versus Na'Vi. Map number 1 of the series. It's 0-0 between Lowely and Harstem. At the bottom right, the yellow Zerg playing for Na'Vi. We have Lowely. At the top left, playing for Fnatic, the pink Protoss, Harstem. Now, I think Lowely, I can't remember if he's from Belarus or, I want to say he's from Belarus. Just kind of cool. I had a wrestling coach from Belarus. He was a fun guy, except he never called it Belarus. He called it former Soviet Union. He was an eccentric character, but Lowely's not quite that eccentric. He's going for a 14 pool. We'll see if he does any shenanigans with early gas and speed. We do see Harstem, of course, going for that gateway expansion here. Let's see how things play out. Now, he's not scouting, which is typically when you do a gateway expand, there's 2 ways. There's actually 3 ways people scout with this. One way is you scout right after you build the gateway. And the advantage of doing that scout, I mean, at that point, is if you do build the gateway 12, you often get there right in time to block this hatchery. So the probe would have gotten here like 10 seconds ago, roughly. You can delay the hatchery if they go 14 pull, 16 hatch. Or 14 pull, 17 hatch. And that's the advantage of scouting that early. Plus, of course, you can catch if they're not getting the hatchery and they're getting, early gas, pulling some shenanigans, you can catch that. So that's one way to scout. Another way to scout is you wait till you build a Nexus. You build a Nexus at like 2021 supply, and you scout right after that. So you start the Zealot, you rally this probe out. If there's no Zerglings coming, you cancel the Zealot, use those minerals to build a Nexus, then you scout with that probe after it builds a Nexus, just to see if the Zerg is taking a fast third base mostly. Sometimes you can get in this zone, if you can sneak by the Zerglings, and you can see if they're rallying more Zerglings out. Let's see if they're cheesing you that way. And that's another scouting timing. Then the third scouting timing is not to use a probe to scout, to just wait till you have a Zealot, a Stalker, a Mothership Core, and send one of your combat units out to scout. So we'll see which one Harstem goes for. If he scouts right after he builds a pylon here, that's a little bit safer. Well, I actually don't know if it is. It's one of those things where you should be kind of okay in any case. Some people just like to, sometimes I just get paranoid. And then if I'm paranoid, if I don't know what they're doing, I start to make mistakes more often than I would, if I was more confident about what they're doing. Even if they're totally unrelated mistakes, just like random macro errors. You have Harstem going for the wall at the front. And now the big question is, his third building to wall in, what's that going to be? Now he's only on 1 gas, and he's chrono boosting the warp gate. Here he's getting another gas. He might just stay on 3 gateways. 4 gateways is a lot of people discovered unnecessary and kind of pointless, because if you're doing 3 gate pressure with this build, if the Zerg tries to take a third, you can usually cancel it, or at the very least, they have to build like a bunch of roaches, right? And it's one of those things, if they build a bunch of roaches, even if you had 4 gates, they'd still stop you, right? So you're better off saying, okay, you build a bunch of roaches, your economy's weak, I can transition fine. It looks like Lowely's going for a lot of Zerglings with speed. Of course, he's trying to hunt down this probe. Once he kills that probe, he knows there's no more proxy pylons that can be built. Of course, he does know about this one, but his rallied Zerglings will take care of that, or hopefully that's his goal, is to take care of that. Or maybe he's just going to kind of hang back. And then, as long as one can't get closer, it actually makes a big difference if there's a pylon here, if there's just one back here. But Harstem, all he wants to do is stop the third base. He's not trying to do like super heavy pressure. He just wants to make sure there's no third base. You can see behind us, adding a robo, starting a good transition. Whereas Lowely is really taking this threat very seriously, making a lot of Zerglings, still no third, fourth gas, no Evo Chambers, no Lair Tech. Baiting Nest, in fact, he could turn this from what looked like it might be just a defensive 3-gate pressure into an all-in very easily. Now, is he going to show all these Zerglings? I guess he is going to show them all. Now, Harstem's going to immediately recall. He's going to, actually, no, look at this. He's going to try to make a great stand here. Very good positioning on these Zealots. Being insanely cost efficient. Lowely might overrun this eventually, but Harstem's definitely getting a lot of value from these Zealots. And if you keep that spinning count down low, it's going to make it much easier to go ahead and take that third base later. He could even warp in. Well, now it's too late to warp more Zealots, but he could have thought about warping in Zealots. Instead, continuing to tech up, getting a War Prism. Meanwhile, Lowely is now going to Lair, adding in all of his gases. He should be taking that third base very soon. I would assume. I would assume he's taking a third base very soon. Maybe he's just kind of hanging out. Meanwhile, scouting for proxy pilots around the map, making sure his opponent is kind of inside his base. And you know what's cool is he did spot that War Prism. Well, he spotted it twice in case once wasn't enough. And anytime you spot that, you know exactly what to be ready for. So 8 more Zerglings being built. These guys, if you look at to see the rally point, they're just going to be ready to kind of keep an eye on that War Prism is one step. And the other step is what he wants to do is he says, okay, you lost your early Zealots. You're sending War Prism out. That means you probably don't have too many units around to be part of your main army. So if I just get a small group of Speedings, I can delay your third base for quite a while. Well, I have a third base of my own. Well, except he doesn't have a third base of his own, which is... I'm actually kind of intrigued by this style where he's just not getting that third hatchery. Okay, now he's going to start it. He's had the resources for quite a while. Maybe he just didn't want to... maybe it's got like a mind game thing. If he doesn't take the third hatchery, his opponent's more scared of an all-in. And look at this. He's getting Overlord drop, Overlord speed, 1/1 upgrades, and Infestation Pet. I mean, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of Zerg players make is if they're on 2 base for this long, they try to go Roaches or Hydras. And I love what Lowely's doing. We're saying, you know what? I mean, if you look at economy, he's been playing from even like a couple workers down for most of this game. Overall, roughly even economy. And you're never going to win a game barring, you know, some like all-in or you know, some... barring massive outplaying, basically. You're always going to be at a disadvantage if you're trying to go Roach Hydra on equal basis to your Protoss opponent. So, doing a composition that could be potentially more cost-efficient, I mean, he's probably going to eventually work his way up to Ultralisk. In the meantime, he's looking to do Baning drops, and he's going to have a lot of Speedings that can surround and do great service area. That's a great way. Yeah, he's going high, so it's definitely going to be Ultralisk. That's a great way to play on equal economy, because with good upgrades, Speedings can be very cost-efficient because of how cheap they are. And their potential damage output when used with counterattack, needs a drop play. All these things really mess up Protoss. Harstem, of course, is looking to take his third base. But there's an Overlord spreading creep there. That's going to be quite annoying to Harstem. He may change his plans and just end up cranking out 2 base Colossi. But, in fact, look at that walling in. The probe is not going to the third base. It's going out to push, adding more gateways behind us, stopping probes at 47, in fact, and adding 2 more gateways. He definitely at least wants to have the option of doing heavy 2 base pressure. And even if he can't get a proxy pylon up, he does have that Warp Prism lurking around that he can use to warp in units. Those Zergling here. Is he going to send like 1 unit back to kill that and make Lowely think it's a third base? Looks like he isn't. So Lowely here, against a 2 base timing, all he has to do is survive to Ultras and he kind of wins. But I don't even think he even needs Ultralisk. I think he has a very high chance of winning this game just basically using the drop play. If he can get a great speeding surround and then drop the Banings, I think he's going to have a very, very good shot. We'll see if he can do that. Here's a Protoss moving around on the left side. Banings are loaded up. Typically, you sacrifice a third base against a 2 base time, which is what Lowely's doing. Is he going to do that or not? No, he's going to try to save it. He has to wait for the Overlords, though. They're here, they're coming, but there's not too many Banings of them. Harstem's backing away. He's a little bit apprehensive. Lowely not even building an Ultras Cavern, saying, you know what, I just want to try to fight this with Speedings and Banings. But I don't know if he has the Larva count. Yeah, he doesn't have the Larva to spend his resources. I think he does want the Ultras Cavern. Now he's using some Overlords as well. Here come, looking for the drop play. There's no blink, remember. This is a very low-tech Protoss competition. Okay, forcing out some force fields, but he is losing some units as well. Kind of going back and forth here. Lowely at a very low supply, which is normal when you're Ultra attacking, but he's also, he doesn't have the Ultra Cavern in. Ideally, he'd have, 4 Ultras in production right now. Look at that, the Colossus breaks the force field. Speedings are getting in there, but a lot are getting stuck by the Time Warp over here. And these Colossi are just wrecking the Speedings. A great position by Harstem. And Lowely with so many resources, but unable to find a way to spend them. He has to GG. And that was just, hey, hold on a second. I'll be right back, guys. 1 second.